Without a union, the people are always cheated. This is a famous quote from Chicano labor leader and civil rights activist Cesar Chavez. Today, we will be discussing the importance of fairly paying and compensating college athletes and how we can make unionization the solution. College athletes of all sports can be seen across all different types of media, as well as athletics being a main source of income for most colleges. Personally, I have been a follower of many different college sports, as well as been active in different sports throughout my entire life. So today, we'll be going over 2 reasons and a solution to college athletes being paid and compensated fairly. First, we're going to talk about how much money the NCAA and universities make from athletics. Then, we'll go over the fact that only a small percentage of college athletes will make it to professional divisions. And then finally, I'll be telling you how we can support the unionization of athletes in colleges. So, college football is the most profitable sport for universities. Every year, universities and the NCAA profit tens of millions of dollars from ticket revenue, to concessions, to jerseys, to endorsements. Players currently now can receive $2,000 a year, a stipend, for groceries and food. This is absolutely nothing compared to the millions that their school and the NCAA are making off of them. Now, when it comes to basketball, the March Madness tournament generates about $1.2 billion per year for the NCAA alone. This is the biggest playoff event in the country. Along with being this biggest playoff event for the country, NCAA basketball games sell hundreds of thousands of tickets every year, amounting to more millions of ticket revenue. The new laws that somewhat help athletes from profiting during the season is a new policy that the NCAA passed this year, which allows athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness, or NIL. This is a big step and a positive step in the right direction for athletes, but it does have its setbacks. Only the top performing and most popular and aware athletes are those who are going to be paid for their name, image, and likeness. The average and majority of players are still not going to receive any payment from this. And the odds that the players that are making this money from endorsements and from their name and image, those are the players that you will see go professional at the end of college. It is the same people. So we need to protect those players who are not in this group, this level of elite players. So, less than 2% of college athletes every year will end up being a professional in their sport. Specifically, football players actually have the highest percent chance of making it to the pros. An average of 1.6% of college football players will make it to the professional leagues. College basketball players actually have the lowest chance of getting to the professional leagues, with men and women averaging about 1% of those athletes entering into the professional leagues. The athletes who do not go pro, though, often end up feeling missing or lost after ending their sport. Although they are given many pathways, being a student athlete and receiving an education and a degree from a school, since they have still received a quality education, but they are now no longer able to pursue their athletic dreams and now must switch to a career field. This is very difficult change for a lot of athletes. But for the athletes that do make it to a good point and make it to the professional leagues, they end up living pretty well, making about $610,000 a year for the average football player. Again, only a small percentage of the professional players are going to be those players making the multi-million-dollar contracts, the $15 million contracts, as well as getting the Nike, the Adidas, the big sponsorship deals. It's the same small percentage going on and on. The majority of NCAA athletes don't make it to these high levels, but they still deserve to be fairly compensated for their time and time on the field. So, how can we support this? The College Athletes' Right to Organize Act is the answer. This was a bill that unfortunately did not make it all the way through Congress this year. It did not gather the support it needed, but the movement isn't over yet. It was a bill that was introduced in May of this year by Senator Bernie Sanders, and after a short review, it was passed down to the Department of Labor, Justice, and Education to be reviewed again. Unions are extremely beneficial in the workforce, and these ideals and practices can be applied directly to the NCAA and its athletes. A typical college athlete will spend about 35 to 45 hours per week practicing and playing games, and this limits the time for them to find other employment and other sources of income. They also need to dedicate the rest of their time to focusing on their education. Unions would be able to help these players who may not end up in the professional leagues and may not receive any payment from their name, image, or likeliness. They would be able to compensate them for some of the money that they have provided both their school, the government, and the NCAA. The ability to profit off name, image, and likeliness is an exclusive thing for the top players, and it is only a temporary policy. Unionization of the players would be a permanent solution. So, to push this college athletes' right to organize bill forward, we need to reach out to our congressmen like Eric Swalwell, or our senators like Ms. Feinstein or Mr. Padilla, and by expressing our support and pushing them to support this bill, they can help us push it through Congress. So today we have gone over some reasons as well as a fair solution to the compensation of college athletes and the NCAA. The NCAA profits extremely every year from athletics made throughout all different sports, while only a small percentage of their athletes are going to end up in a professional league. And supporting and pushing the College Athletes' Right to Organize Act bill is the best solution that we have. Supporting legislature and supporting candidates who are going to be backing this bill and bills like it is very important moving forward. All athletes should be compensated for the time and dedication that they've spent for their program and for their school. People sometimes forget about the second player and the player who doesn't get the endorsement deal, but unions are here to protect them. Thank you.